I mean, put it this way, and another team also people are talking about that could cause Seattle a problem. People think Carolina.
Oh my God, Carolina's defense is nasty, and they're going to be on tonight.
They're fucking crazy, man. I mean, they're averaging giving up 12 to almost a little under 13 points a game.
Yeah,
and
speaking to Russell Wilson real quick, in this last game, look, I know, all right, maybe I put my foot in my mouth, maybe I didn't. 13 for 18 for 230 yards and 2 touchdowns, but it was against the Vikings. Name one player on the Vikings defense.
There's nobody.
I think it's E.J. Henderson's little brother. That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. If you look at defensive teams in the NFC, it will surprise you if you're talking about points per game, and obviously people go total yardage, let's say yards per game, okay? If you look at yards per game, Carolina is there. Another team is New Orleans.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? New Orleans is right where Seattle is.
Yeah, and they beat San Francisco last night, which was an important win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, you look at that. I mean, New Orleans, if they can, the thing is you're looking at two teams. If Seattle, to me, has to, if Seattle gets, who is their loss to?
Indianapolis.
So they're lucky because it was an AFC loss. Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know. And the New Orleans, they lost to New England, right? And they've lost how many games? 1 game or 2 games?
They haven't lost many. Let me get to the standings. I will tell you in a minute, sir. Today. New England 7-2, Cincinnati 7-4. I'm just giving you the leaders. Indianapolis is 7-3, Denver's 9-1, and then we come over to the NFC, and you're looking at the Eagles at 6-5, Detroit 6-4, New Orleans is 8-2, Seattle's 10-1, San Francisco is 6-4. If they keep up with this bullshit, they might not even get the wild card.
Yeah,
they might be sitting at home.
Because you got to remember, man, the NFC North, right? Because
you got Detroit at 6-4, Chicago at 6-4, and Green Bay at 5-5. And Green Bay needs Aaron Rodgers back desperately.
And that's the thing. Suppose all of a sudden Green Bay gets healthy, like with 3. Suppose Green Bay sneaks into the fucking playoffs. Okay, now you got a team that plays great outside and in cold weather, and they sneak into the playoffs, and Aaron Rodgers is healthy, and your whole defense is healthy. Don't write them off.
Well, and then look at Carolina. Carolina's behind New Orleans. New Orleans is 8-2. Carolina's 6-3. If Carolina rips off a win tonight, that puts them at 7-3, and that puts them ahead of San Francisco.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, who does Seattle have left on their schedule?
Asking all these damn questions. You need to do some research, Willie.
I'm just saying. Look, okay. They've still got New Orleans. Okay. Which is they've got a bye week coming up.
Then they play New Orleans, at San Francisco, at the Giants, Arizona, and St. Louis. So the last 2 games, if they're in a position to cruise, all the starters are going to come out versus Arizona and St. Louis.
Let me tell you something. If they lose to New Orleans, that will fuck them. Because then they got to go to San Francisco, they got to go to New York, and then they've got 2 division games. They got 3 division games, which is never fucking easy. Because, and especially St. Louis hasn't looked bad, and neither has Arizona lately.
No.
So they've looked decent. So you've got 5 of the more tougher games, and they're all NFC games. So if they lose 1 or 2 of those games, you know what I mean? If they lose against New Orleans and lose another one, then then they basically said, okay, you know what, we're going to have to go to the Superdome.
Yeah, and if we go back to the AFC, New England's on cruise control at 7-2. They know they're not going to have the best record. You got Denver and Kansas City both sitting at 9-1. I mean, there's a division winner and a wild card there. Indianapolis is blowing their division out of the water. I don't think you're going to get a wild card there. They're 7-3. Next closest team. The AFC is weak, dude. Yeah, Tennessee's 4-6. Then Houston's 2-8, Jacksonville's 1-9. Then you go over to the AFC North. You might get a wild card out of there, but Pittsburgh's going to have to kick it into gear because Cincinnati's sitting at 7-4, and the rest of the division is all sitting at 4-6.
Yeah, I think Denver. I think Denver is the one thing that's looked good with Denver lately. Is obviously Peyton Manning is just crazy, and if you're going to have to go, and it looks like he could go, going to the Super Bowl is going to be through Denver, playing at Mile High. And Peyton Manning being 100% and moving that ball like he does, and all of a sudden, now Denver's defense is looking great.
Right.
They're looking great. They're going to be a hard team to beat on the AFC side.
Because you take the top 6 teams, right? You take 4 division winners and the next 2 teams with the best records.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, I mean, you're looking at right now, if the playoffs were today in the AFC, the Jets would be your second wild card team at 5-5.
Yeah. But the crazy thing about this is Kansas City and Denver, as good as both of those teams are, if you don't win the division, you're the 5 seed.
Damn.
The 5 seed.
I can tell you right now, and the 5 seed would play what? The 3 seed?
The 5 seed, the 5 seed would play the 4 seed. Huh?
The 3, because 1 and 2 get a bye.
1 and 2 get a bye, 3 plays 6, 4 plays 5.
Okay, so your 3 seed in the AFC would be, looks like right now it would be Cincinnati. So Cincinnati would be playing the Jets, and then Kansas City would have to play Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Neither one of those teams would have to play each other in the opening round.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you what, it'll be even crazier like in the NFC. Because, I mean, you're fucking...
Well, in the NFC, it's a lot closer. In the NFC this year, when you get down to week, 14, 15, 16, those games are actually going to count this time around. You can't slack off. You're not going to be able to rest. Not for those teams on the bubble.
Yeah. Yep.
If you're not leading your division, you got problems. Like, I'm going to tell you what, San Francisco, Carolina, Chicago, Green Bay, and Dallas all have to play, and the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, right now, the only team who's got it kind of easy is Seattle. But, I mean, like you said, their next couple games are nasty. And New Orleans. I mean, the NFC, the Super Bowl is coming back to the NFC. The NFC champ will be somebody from the NFC.
Yeah. It's going to be, and Seattle, if they can if they can only get one loss out of these last 5 games, then I think they're sitting pretty. Unless that one loss is to New Orleans. But even so, if New Orleans gets another loss, they still have the home field advantage.
Hey, Kevin.